My name's Neil Axtell. I'm a Christian author who writes poetry, as well as other things. So I live here. I'm based in the UK. Live in Cambridge, but I've only been here for 2 years. Grew up in sort of Surrey, Bucks, home counties area. I've been a Christian since I was a late teenager, and my writing really stems out from it's called a stumbling Christian life. So I stumble through a life of faith, ups and downs, warts and all, and that's what inspired my writing. I actually started writing shortly after I became a Christian, but I didn't call it poetry. You're probably asking, well, why don't you call it poetry? Well, because it didn't fit in the box which I had been taught poetry was. So it doesn't rhyme. It's varies in length. I like playing. The stanzas are not nice and consistent and complete. The sentences are not nice and short. So in my mind, it wasn't poetry because it didn't meet that criteria. Now, latterly, many years later, I realised, well, actually poetry is far wider than that. And in some ways, trying to come up with a definition for what is poetry is really difficult. And the best definition, I said, is poetry is not prose. And that's it. And there are very many different flavours and poetry, and so it was latterly I came to become comfortable saying, well, it is poetry, but it's definitely not prose, and so therefore poetry is the best definition for it, or best description for it. It is my first poetry collection, so I've sort of reviewed the many individual poems and just brought together a collection which gives a flavour of different topics, different styles, different micro stories. So just try and give a different flavour of the different types of things I write. And so it's called Initiate because it's the first book, hence Initiate. The journey begun because I've got enough material for more than one book, and so I'm planning to release other books. So I went through a bit of a doldrums period with my writing when I got to the point of saying, why am I writing? What is the point of this? If I didn't write it and it just sits in a notebook, it does nothing. And then 10 years ago, not quite to the day, but no, this will be the 10th anniversary this year, I was at a Christian youth festival, and God had a very serious word with me saying, you know what I've asked you to do with your poems? And I went, yes. And no, you put them online. Yeah. Well, will you get on and do it? And I did the classic. I'll do it. And he said, no. I'm very serious. Are you going to go and do it? So that's when I started putting them online, and then I started thinking, well, actually, I want them to be accessible to people who not just online. And so that's when the idea of coming up with producing a book form of it, because you can take it anywhere. You don't need a power supply to read it. Don't need connection to the internet to read it. Works in low light conditions, so that's where the inspiration for that from. It's just making it accessible for more people, and also encouraging people just to slow down and spend a bit of time reading. And I think this is the main theme of the book is just to slow down. And so hence on the back cover I very much say, in the age of the 10-second attention span, this is an invitation to slow down, because many of the sort of the poems I write are micro stories. They're deliberately open-ended. I don't identify who the characters are. That's up for you as the reader, because I see it as being an exchange. So I've written something, then you as the reader read it and you interpret the words based upon your whole back history, life experience, life events, and you will interpret and interact with the poem in different ways. So person A will interact and will identify with the characters one way. Person B will interact and do it a second way, and so it continues, because we are all unique. So we have a unique way of thinking. We have we've woven our own unique path through life, and that will then interact and will affect the way we interpret what we read. And so the way I see it is the words plus somebody's imagination, their own life experience and life journey is the end result, and how they interpret and interact with it. And yes, I will never see the end result, and frustrating though it is, I've become comfortable with it that I'm not going to see the end result. And I was once complaining to God, as we sometimes do when we're praying. We get, I was whinging about it, and God sort of said, "The end result's up to me. All I've asked you to do is to write it and make it available. Who reads it and how they interact with it and what the end result is, that's not your concern. That's God's business." And so it's very, very frustrating as a writer. You like to see people interacting with your work and getting some feedback. So otherwise, it can be quite a lonely experience. You write stuff, you make it available, and you think, is this resonating with anybody? I haven't got a Scooby. But letting go of that need for sort of validation and need for closure, and saying, I trust God, and He's asked me to do this. I've done what I believe He's asked me to do. I'm now going to leave it up to Him. So that was quite a profound turning point for me. But it would still be nice to occasionally get a bit of feedback to know that it's meaning something to people. But that shouldn't be the motivation for doing it. This is going to sound terribly Christianese, but I just want people to have an encounter with God through it. I want them to have. Encounter is probably the wrong word, because it sometimes produces different images. I want them to have a conversation. I want them to have an interaction with God. And so through what they're reading, I just hope they have that spiritual dimension to it, that spiritual encounter. That's what I'm after. If they also then get comfort from it, if it gets them to think about maybe things that happen in their lives, think about where they are, their relationship with God, then great. That's a bonus. But fundamentally, it's being an introducer. They're saying, I know I have this relationship with God, I've had these experiences. Through the combination of those experiences and that relationship, I've written this. I would like you to have the same relationship and experience too, but it's offered with an open hand, because you're not forcing somebody to say, you must. It's, here we go, here's an open hand. I've written this honestly and truthfully. I hope that you have an interaction with God through that. I think it's either a Facebook ad or an Instagram ad. So this is shortly after the book had been published, and I saw this come up, and I thought, I want to try as many avenues as possible, again, to get this into people's hands. Just having it stuck on an e-tailer's board is one way, but there is something. I love bookshops. I have to be careful, because if I go into a bookshop, then my family will tease me that I'll be there for hours whilst I just peruse books. So I have to be very, very careful when I go into a bookshop. But there is something about interacting with a book. There's also something about the physicality of a book as well. Now, we all know that comprehension from paper is better than comprehension from screens, for reasons I don't fully understand. But there is something about the physicality of holding something in your hands as you read it, and I think it's another layer to it. It's the kinesthetic aspects to it. It's feeling the paper, it's feeling the weight, it's the smell. So bookshops are important, and bookshops, you're not dependent upon technology. In some ways, it's taking it down a level. You can carry it where you like. It's always with you. When you've got that spare 5 minutes, you can pick up the book. And the beauty of the book is that you won't get interrupted. You won't be middle through a page and suddenly an advert appears, or you see something and then go down a complete tangent. Before you know it, 45 minutes is gone. And you go, hang on, what was I doing? Oh, I was reading a book. Books don't have that. You're in a nice, not control, but contained world, where you can just embed yourself and get yourself into the world, and then just have that time for yourself. So I love books. As anybody who would see my other side of my room would testify. I struggle getting rid of books. I don't like throwing books out. It's a big problem for me. My wife has to help me.